right, everybody, here we are for another episode of the Stratford Warriors Report. I'm your host, Les Faders. Another good weekend for the Warriors. Get 3 out of 4 points. Would have liked the 4th point, but went to a shootout against that upstart St. Thomas Stars team with all those rookies. There's just no quit in that team. Tonight, we're going to start a series I'm going to work on, Voices of the Warriors and print media people from the Warriors and the Colton era. Before we get there, let's just cover this first. Our next game's coming up. There they are, Friday, London Nationals come to town for a 7:30 start. On Sunday, the Warriors travel to Waterloo for a 1:30 p.m. start. On that game, you'll have Kevin Fell's going to be on the play-by-play for both those games, along with the general, as I'm going to be off on a little bit of a medical leave for a couple weeks, but I'll be back the beginning of November when Chatham makes her return to Stratford from last year and the return date from last Sunday we had with them. But tune in and listen to Kevin and the general for those 2 games. And the week after, there is no game. The next weekend is Stratford. The Warriors have their team building trip and go off to BG. They're going to be back some more games, so it's going to be a busy November, December, January, February for this hockey club. They're going to play a lot of hockey in those months. Like I said, Friday night, they got the 7-1 win. Everybody contributed on that in that game. Noah Bender was outstanding again. Stopped a lot of shots. He let one in. And then we got scoring from the back end of the lineup again. And then late in the game, there was Grady Murphy got a 5-minute major for boarding. Didn't look that bad. It looked harmless. So Sunday, he still thought he was suspended. He got paroled earlier in the day. So he was in the lineup for Sunday night against St. Thomas. Got the first goal too. I joked online that the convict got the parole that day and scored a goal to help his team. He made it to the 3rd period, but St. Thomas has scored 65% of their goals in the 3rd period alone. So they've really come on in the 3rd period. They were able to tie the game. Overtime solved nothing. Then we go to a shootout. 6th round of the shootout. St. Thomas is able to bury one past Noah Bender, he played at another solid game. All the goals that went in, he didn't have a chance. All right, we'll go quickly. We'll do the 3 stars for the week. Last week's 3 stars. Evan Arnold, the new kid, 6'1", 170 pounds, came in, made a splash right away. A goal Friday night. 2 goals Friday night, and then a goal Sunday night against St. Thomas. Dominic Marshall, two goals on Friday night, well-deserved. He's been playing hard all year. And Max Wildfong added 2 more goals and an assist. Once we get that top end rolling, they're still putting up the points. Slattery had a goal. Kipfer's getting his assist, but we'd like to see him back. Maybe we'll get Jonas Schmidt back soon. Aaron Green is possibly back this week. All right, I'm going to introduce my guest, former voice of the Stratford Hunter Steel Warriors, now the voice of the Kemptville 73s, Mr. Casey Kenny.
Hey, how are you? Thanks for having me on.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. For sure. I'm very excited.
How are things going up there?
Come on. So, pardon?
Yeah. How are things going up there in the northern part of the province?
For sure. Well, before we continue
Eastern?
this, for sure.
Yeah.
Before we continue this, just going to change the hats here. There we go. That's a little bit more comfortable for this. So, things are good. Yeah, it's it's been busy for sure, as you know, as you well know, a play-by-play guy yourself, doing a great job in Stratford. The hockey season's well underway. We've had 12 games played. Kemptville's actually tied for having played the most games in the entire CCHL, Central Canada Hockey League, at this point of the season. So it's been busy. This is a rare week where we don't have a Wednesday night game. A lot of weeks we do have a Wednesday night game, either at home or away, but this week we're off until Friday. So things are going well. 73s are on a 5-game winning streak, and things are going well. There was a lot of turnover over the summer between last year's team and this year's team. So you always have to wait and see exactly how the new guys, as you're well aware, fill in. And things are good so far. So it's been a lot of fun.
All right. like I said, I'm starting this series. I'm talking to old play-by-play guys. I got you on first. I've reached out to Lee Griffey, Henry Hatterline, guys like that, some print media. Maybe we'll get John Kastner on sometime this year too. All those old guys. I also am going to do an Unsung Heroes podcast. We're going to get one current equipment manager and Cody Hemans, along with Josh Adams, and Ducky's going to come on as well.
Oh, there you go. That's awesome. A cast of stars for sure.
Yeah, we're going to do that one, I think, in a roundtable, maybe over the Christmas break or something. Just get all four of us in a room at the same time might be difficult.
That's right, exactly.
The way everything's going there. Casey, so I want to start. You're starting your off. You're former voice of the Stratford Hunter Steel Warriors. How did you get your start in broadcasting, doing hockey play-by-play?
Wow, that's a good question. So I loved hockey, obviously, growing up. I was a big fan. Played a little bit when I was a kid, but was not a fan of the early morning practices. So decided, okay, well, playing's not in my future. So through my teens, loved it, passionate, big Sens fan. Anybody who knows me knows that well. But I had done some theater, and I was kind of looking for, okay, well, how can I combine the two? How can I combine acting and a love of theater and performing, and also join that with hockey? So I was able to get an opportunity to go to school for radio, which is what I went into. And then the first couple of hockey opportunities that I got actually came out west, came out in Alberta with the Whitecourt Wolverines of the AJHL. Called a couple games with them and then moved on from Whitecourt. But that's when the bug, really bit me. Just loving being in the rink, loving doing play-by-play, loving even the prep of it. The preparation, as that you need to do to be able to be ready for a game. So it started there, and then I ended up doing some university hockey along the way in North Bay. Obviously, spent a lot of great years with Stratford, and then came to the 73s now. So yeah, it's been something where growing up, it's what I wanted to do. It's why I got into radio in the first place, and very fortunate that I've been able to make it happen.
Yeah, and I've had a lot of people comment they like the melatonin voice of Casey Kenny doing the job.
For sure.
So we get a good laugh over that. It's kind of funny because we had the old podcast, the Armchair Chirpers. We had you on one night with Jason Clark, and I facetiously, just off the cuff, said I would love to try this, and you said, "Yeah, come on down and do it." And I got the bug. The first game you threw me into was the 100th anniversary game against Waterloo. Yep. I was a little nervous, but I made it through the game, and after that, I caught the bug, and then you moved on, and they offered me the position. Now this is my second full year doing it, and I'm just having a blast. The General's he's quite the character up there, and we get him going now. You wouldn't recognize the press box now.
No, really?
They've done some work up there. Yeah, they took out the glass. There's no glass between me and the General anymore because for the light show they had to move Sammy over, take off my usual or General's usual spot. So we had to move General on the other side of the glass towards where the print guys used to sit. Well, this year they removed the glass and everything, so now the General can hear me some nights. We get along, but he's been around doing it for quite a long time.
Yes, he certainly has. He's such a wealth of knowledge, and you can learn so much from working alongside General. I know I did for sure. I know that I wouldn't have been able to come on or go on and have the success that I've had now had it not been for working with him, and had it not been just learning about sort of what it takes, even seeing his preparation for each game. And I'm fortunate that I keep in touch with a number of people from Stratford still, even though it's crazy to think how long I've been gone for now, over a year now. But, I still talk to him all the time. We're still, good friends and always will be. So, he's a wealth of knowledge and just a great person, all around. So he's such an asset for that organization as well to have. And he's just him representing the organization, yourself representing the organization. It just shows that there are top-notch people in Stratford. I don't think it's any secret. I think everybody's always known what a great quality organization it's been, Jason and everybody involved. And And he's just another example of people who love hockey and being involved with that team.
Yeah, the push in Stratford to put on the best possible product they can is always there. They always want us to improve things. I've never heard the word no from them. You get the odd, but in the end, they want to do the right thing and make sure the broadcast is perfect for everybody. Like last year in the playoffs against Chatham, we broke the stream twice in one game.
Yeah,
so
awesome.
we had to add on the extra, let extra people in and we'll pay the extra couple cents. And the hockey club was okay with that because it's a good problem, but it's a problem, right? You don't want to deny people a chance to listen to the game.
For sure.
But when you're pulling in 650 listeners, it's kind of like, wow, we weren't expecting that.
Yeah, 100%.
So that series brought everything to the forefront there. And some improvements here and there.
That's great for sure.
So your love of hockey goes right back to when you were a kid. I hate to tell people this, but you're a Senators fan.
Yes. A diehard Senators fan for sure.
Yeah, it's good that we sent you back up that way.
For sure.
So you get to see them a bit more.
Yes, that's right.
Do you still live, eat, breathe Ottawa Senators?
Oh, 100%. For sure. 100%. I watch pretty much every game, if not every game, then certainly every second game whenever my schedule will allow. I get to as many games as I can. I went to the first 2 home games this season. It's my passion. It's my love for sure. I love following the team. I love keeping up with it. My friends and family are all into them as well. So it just comes naturally. And of course, being from Eastern Ontario, this is where I grew up. It makes sense that I'm a Sens fan just because, geographically, that's where, when I was deciding, okay, well, I love hockey. What team am I going to cheer for? Senators were the closest NHL team. So that's what in the first season that I actually started watching them back in 1996-97 was the first season they ever made the playoffs. So watching that run and seeing them get in the last game, Steve Duchesne scoring against Dominik Hasek to get that playoff spot, I was just, after that I was hooked and never really looked back. So certainly still a diehard Sens fan for sure.
And some people might not know this past summer, your fall, I guess, spring maybe, was it? You had the chance to cover some other hockey up there working for Vista Radio.
Yes, I did. Yeah, it's the World Junior Championship, I think, is what you're talking about. Yeah, I was very, very lucky for sure. The World Junior Championship or Hockey Championship has been held in Ottawa twice, and I've been able to get a media pass and get credentialed for both of them. Both the year that Jordan Eberle scored late against Russia in the third period to tie that one up and send it to overtime. I was at that game. And certainly a memory I'll never forget. And also this past year being able to cover it, and finding different storylines that made sense for Kentville as well. There was a couple, Kerry Terrence, who was a former player who came from the organization, played for Team USA. There was another player, I believe it was on Team Czechia, who his brother had played for the 73. So I interviewed him, and it was just a lot of fun for sure. Unfortunately, of course, as a Canadian fan, and not the outcome that we wanted, but it was once in a lifetime opportunity that I'm very fortunate that I was able to achieve or able to get to experience. And it was pretty cool for sure. There's nothing like being in the rink when it's a big international game. When your country's playing, when they're taking on, doesn't matter who it is, like Slovakia, Sweden, any of those other countries, just being there for the atmosphere and getting to see it up close and personal, it's amazing for sure. And
also there was a connection to the GOHL in that World Junior Championships. The backup goaltender for Germany. You had called some of his games.
Yes, in fact, I had for sure. Yeah, I definitely done that because yes, that's right, Nice. Yes, the series that Brantford and Stratford had played, I think the previous year in the playoffs, he was in net for Brantford. And of course, that was the game that went to the longest game I've ever called in the playoffs, went to the third overtime. Ended early in the third overtime, as I'm sure you will remember. Ended early in the third overtime. But I remember if Brantford had won that game, the next game was going to be the very next afternoon. I think it was like going to be like a 1 o'clock start or very early. So fortunate that Cam Dago put an end to it. Now it's all coming back now, but yeah, Cam Dago put an end to it and scored the overtime winning goal. And yeah, as you say, Leonard Neese there for sure. Yes, he was on that Germany team. So another another tie-in right there.
Yeah. So let's go back to the Warriors and your time with the Warriors. What are some of your most memorable moments? And I can think of one pretty clearly. That's top. It's going to be that Cherry Cup season. We have 3 players remaining on the team from that season. So the connection to that last championship season is this year. So what are some of your best memories?
Well, yeah, it was funny. Like even like the other day, I was just kind of sitting here and I was going over the team now in the roster and just seeing, the different players that maybe I would have seen or would have, would have had ties to. And yeah, as you say, I mean, it's the last year for that, and then there won't be, as far as on the team, any ties to it anymore. But certainly that run. I work with a younger gentleman here who does color with me. And I was telling him the other day about going to Game 7 of the Cherry Cup final, or the Sutherland Cup final, and going that far, and how it was a round robin, how the games, Hamilton as well, and then Leamington, and how it all went right down to the wire, Game 7, and just to run through that, it was certainly still my biggest hockey memory for sure. It was an amazing journey, getting to call those games, getting on the bus trips to Leamington, going to Hamilton. It was such an amazing experience, and getting to call them alongside General and just the excitement. I'll never forget the game that Stratford won the championship. I had seen maybe like a fairly full arena before, certainly nothing like it used to be. But in the final game, there was people standing behind where the seats were, like up the passage or whatnot.
Yeah,
but 3 back,
deep up there,
or 3 or 4 back, like deep. Yeah, exactly. Like I had never seen that before. It was just it was such a cool experience, and being able to be in the seat of calling those games, and for sure, I mean it's something that I'll never forget, and something that I hold so dearly. All my years that I was in Stratford, and everything that I was able to do there, right from Game 1 to then to, the last game that I called in
Listowel.
Yes, in Listowel, that's right.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, right, the whole way through, it was just an amazing experience, and that'll certainly be a memory that I'll always have. But, I think about other times, about the people that I got to meet, about Jamie Nigro, and I mentioned Jason, and just everybody, all the coaches, and all the training staff, and yourself, and in general, and everybody like that. It's the relationships that I hold more dearly now, and even still get to talk to you guys. And I said when I was leaving, I said I'm not going to be here geographically, but I'll still be around. And I've certainly tried to make that point to still be around and still keep an eye on what's going on. But yeah, the relationships have been huge for sure.
Yeah, because it was funny last year in the playoffs, I was able to surprise the General when you set up that voice clip
Yes.
for the playoffs. He was quite surprised that you did that, and we tricked him on. We got him on that one. He had no clue it was coming up. So
there we go. Perfect.
I always like to get the General every now and then get going.
Yes, for sure.
Yep. So we had the Cherry Cup win, and then we had the next year where we made it to Game 7 against Listowel.
Yes.
And it was a team that we didn't think deserved to be there.
No.
Because coming into training camp, they only had 6 returning players.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, we didn't know where it was going to go. We didn't know how it was all going to shake up, and and we didn't know, especially against a team like the Cyclones, who were such a strong team that year, and it was
and then Matthew Purdue going down with the appendectomy.
Yes. Matthew Purdue going down, and all everything that happened in that series for sure. It was to get that far, and it was heartbreaking, of course, at the end not to win it, but having been so far the year before, and being able to take the championship, it allowed you to feel, okay, well, yeah, this one, it's too bad we're not going to win. We did win it last year, so it allowed me to leave selfishly on a pretty good foot, and especially knowing that you were taking over and that you were going to do, as you've done, an amazing job since day one. So it was sad to leave after that, but I'm glad to see that it's in good hands for sure.
Yeah, I wish he could have been around for this realignment, because this Western Conference is a 50-game grind now, where if you lose a couple games, you go from top to bottom pretty quick. Stratford's only 10 games in. We're sitting in 7th, tied for 8th, but we're only 6 points out of first spot.
Yeah.
It's just a game here or there. And the playoffs last year were just something unbelievable, where it came down to the wire who was playing who, and St. Mary's on a big run. And we thought we were finally going to get that St. Mary's Stratford playoff series, because the regular season games between Stratford and St. Mary's felt like playoff games.
Yeah. Sure.
Stratford, we just couldn't get over the hump. The same thing the year before, where if we could have beat Listowel, we could have met St. Mary's in the Sutherland Cup, right? And
yes, yeah.
It's something that the league has finally got right with these. There's a lot of geographical rivalries, but Stratford St. Mary's has always been one. You called a lot of this Stratford Listowel, I call the Battle of Perth County, because it's been around since 78. Listowel's been battling Stratford over 230 games so far. They've played each other.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it doesn't matter where the teams are in the standings, it's always good hockey.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
And then just having the Battle of Highway 7 now, going down the road 15 minutes. It was kind of funny last year. We get on the bus, our first trip to St. Mary's, and there was a young goaltender, Chase Furlong, from out west, and he gets on and he goes, he sits down, and it's another bus ride. And I said, it'll be 15 minutes. He's like, are you serious? I said, yeah, it's a 15-minute ride down the road. I was like, I thought I was going to be on here for like 15 hours ago. These kids, we just don't know how lucky we are in this area. So you still keep track of the Warriors, and you keep an eye on how they're doing, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. As often as I can, as often as I can. A lot of nights that I have my own games here in Kemptville, you guys or the Warriors are playing as well. So I don't get to tune in as often as I'd like, or I don't get to watch as often as I like. But after a game, I'll always check and see what the score is, or sort of a recap, or try to keep up with it anyway. I still follow all the same social media, that the team's connected to. So I get all the updates and all that. So I do keep a close eye on it for sure.
Yeah, ever since I've taken over this job, my day pretty much consists of, now I get up every morning and I check the transaction list.
Yes. Yeah.
This will be till early January that I'll keep checking that list, and every now and then I'll get a surprise and I'll be texting Nick Parr saying, nice pickup.
Exactly. That's right. Yeah.
We just added Evan Arnold there last Wednesday.
Yes, I saw that.
To get us up to 13 forwards, and he comes in with 3 goals. I tried to give all the credit to Nick Parr, but he said that was a lot Dave Williams pursued him back into the playoffs last year. The Stratford coaching staff, Casey, they treat everybody so well.
They
especially us broadcasters. They always have time for us.
They certainly do, for sure. Everybody involved in that coaching staff, they all treat you so well, and they all have time for you. They all will take the time, and Dave Schlitt and everybody involved in that, like they will take the time to even just ask about your day, not even just the hockey stuff, but just ask and see how you're doing, or what you've been up to or whatnot, and and then also, of course, all the hockey stuff, and being available for interviews, and just anything you need, any sort of input you want, or even Nick Parr certainly is available for any of that stuff, always was, and and Jason Clark and everybody, for sure. I really honestly can't say more than enough about how good everybody was and how well they treated me, for sure. It was sad to leave, but I'm glad that they're doing well, and it's quality people like that make you realize how lucky you are to be involved in the game, for sure.
Yeah, I was talking to another broadcaster, and he was saying, he gets in his car and he travels to these away games. I said, we still do it old school.
Yeah.
I said, we travel on the bus with the team.
Yeah.
it sort of gets us more of a connection to the kids on the team.
For sure.
You're not looked at as a stranger when you see them. You ask them a question, they're like, who are you? They know who you are, and they're more willing to talk to you and how their season's going, how they're playing, right?
Yeah, 100% for sure. It's very true. Like I was telling somebody about that, just that, in Stratford, all the games we went to on the bus, here with the 73s, most of them we go to on the bus. There are some, like I live in Carleton Place, which is about 45 minutes from Kemptville. So some of the games are just easier for me to drive to, like Smiths Falls isn't too far, places like that. We do a lot on the bus. But yeah, it is having that contact on the bus and saying hello to people or, having the conversations or, building the camaraderie, because it enables you to call a better game if you know who the players are personally and sort of know what they're going through and, even little tidbits or whatnot, like even knowing a player's favorite movie or their favorite food or, something they did with their family or whatnot. It's, because we want to be storytellers as well. Yes, it's obviously play-by-play, shoots, he scores, big save, all that stuff is huge, and that's the main part of it. But if you can bring stories to it, and the more information can pass along that way, the more it'll be a unique broadcast, and the more people will want to tune in.
Yeah, and that's what I find. Just being able to interview some of the players, either when they're hurt or maybe they've on suspension or they're just not in the lineup, right? Being able to interview them, you get the personal interviews, but even knowing the kids and you see them score a goal. Like this year, Grady Murphy's having an outstanding start to his year. This is a kid that came in as one of the Black Aces last year, got into a little bit of a game here and there, came in this year all of a sudden, and he's just been playing lights out hockey. He's one of the brighter spots. Dominic Marshall last year played, 7-8 minutes a game. Now he's playing 13-14 minutes a game on that fourth line, because it's really not a fourth line in Stratford anymore, because the coaches have trust in that line.
For sure.
Yeah. I was just thinking about something else and it totally just blew right over my head.
I wanted to say that one player that we both saw played in Stratford and then ended up playing in Kemptville and was drafted into the NHL.
That's Bennett. That's actually the one I was thinking about.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you. You go from Stratford to Kemptville, and then you see this big lanky goalie coming in with you.
So that's
and it was like, hey, I know him.
Yeah, well, exactly. So I was sitting in the coach's office one day here in Kemptville before the last season started, and they were saying they just acquired a goaltender, and I was like, oh, okay, well, who is it? I obviously want to find out, look up their stats and all that, and they said Trenton Bennett, and I said Trenton Bennett, and I said, oh, I know him, and so. It's so funny. I joked with people, we came together, although of course he did go to St. Thomas in between, but that we came in a package deal to Kemptville from Stratford that, it was a 2-for-1 or whatnot. But yeah, it was very cool. It was the first day that he arrived, going up and saying hello. And I think just me being there and, him having a familiar face or whatnot. I mean, obviously it was, and me having a familiar face, both kind of helped us both, right? Because we were new to the organization, both coming in and learning, and obviously, he's a player, so it's a lot different. But just the experience and just seeing the success that he's had, seeing start in Stratford, and the confidence that he gained last season, how well he played, getting those games to know and sound even last season, and then going on to see him get drafted, and him and I keep in touch frequently still, and it's pretty awesome to see that a player that came from both Stratford and Kemptville has been able to go on and get drafted. And one of the cool things about it was that when he got drafted, he said he got a text from Martin Brodeur in the New Jersey Devils organization, obviously, and just how cool that was, and hearing from a legendary goaltender. So yeah, I wish him nothing but the best, and yeah, pretty unique that happened for sure.
Yeah, I personally think one of the best parts of this job is getting to know the kids. And even when they're not playing for the Warriors anymore, you still see them. You say hi, you talk, how's your season going? Where are you playing this year? If you're not playing, what are you up to? You sort of keep track of these kids because you've seen them develop over the years here in town.
For sure.
So Kemptville's in the CCHL, correct?
Yes, they're in the CCHL. So, which is basically like an Ottawa area league, There's a number of teams in Eastern Ontario that are a part of it, but 55 game regular season, in last season, 73s had missed the playoffs the 2 previous seasons that before I came along, got in last season. They lost in 4 to Carleton Place, but they gained a lot of experience through that and started well this season. As I mentioned earlier, over half the team is new, so number of new players to get used to, a number of new guys learning how to play together. But on a 5-game winning streak and showing some early season success for sure.
That's good to hear. So the CCHL comparable, it's pretty much the same as our. I know they call it junior A.
Yeah,
so it'd
it's
be like
junior. Yeah, it would
but,
be. Yeah, I mean, pretty comparable for sure. Maybe like the OJHL, maybe a little bit below the OJ, but yeah, a junior A or a junior A league for sure.
What did you think of the news when you heard that the GOJHL became the GOHL?
No, I thought that was great. I know that for a little while there had been some talk about exactly how it was all going to shake down after the change to the university eligibility rule and how that was going to impact everything. And I think that's great. I think that's the right way to go. And I think that the GOJHL or the GOHL, sorry, is such a great league. And we get players in our league and in our teams here that are from the GOJHL, and every time I see one, I get so excited because I know what a quality league that is. I know how good the play is, and I'll always brag about it, forever. So it's awesome to see. And no, I think that was the right move for sure.
Yeah, I think it's going to benefit both leagues. We'll see what happens with it, where it goes. The dividends, it might take a year to see the dividends pay off, but I think it will. Especially like you said, with the changes to the NCAA rule now, where you're getting kids that are, which route do I don't need a scholarship anymore. They play for a scholarship, but now they play to get seen by these teams because there's more areas for them to play in now.
Well, that's even the thing. And that's even like going back to Trenton Bennett, right? Like he does have a university, he's committed to a university team next season, but under the change in the eligibility, he was able to go to Owen Sound. He was able to play some games in that league and play with them this season. So I think it does make the game better. I think obviously it gives more opportunities, as you say, to the players. And that's what we want to see is, the players be able to have more of a choice where they want to go, not say, okay, well, I have to close one door if I go this way and, or I have to close another door if I go that way. Like being able to be flexible and at the end of the day, just develop how they want to develop and go where they want to go, I think is better for everybody.
You've been able to call games in a lot of arenas. But do they compare to the William Allman Memorial Arena?
No, none do at all. No, the William Allman is such a magical place, and no, as you say, I've called games in a number of different arenas, but no, nothing like that. Nothing like going in there for a game night and being up in the booth, and I always say it was the best seat in the house, as you well know, and and just it's just such an amazing building. There's a lot of magic around there for sure, and it's one of the things that makes Stratford so great is that it does have that arena.
Yeah, I tell people how lucky we are because now going to other arenas like I do, you go to like a LaSalle and you call it down at the end of the rink in the far corner, trying to see the other end of the rink, right? And
yes,
like in Stratford, you get that nice unobstructed view up top, just the old grandeur of the building. Chatham's an old arena, but it just still doesn't have the feel that the Allman Arena has.
For sure. I'd say, obviously the Allman is my first amongst my favorite arenas. I'd say the Galt Arena was not too far behind just because it was pretty cool as well. But yeah, nothing will ever replace the Allman. And it's a building that I hope to get back to at some time just to come back and visit you guys and say hello. But, it's something where, you try to tell people about it. And if they haven't experienced it or, even having a conversation, someone will say, oh, I heard about that arena or oh, yeah, I heard, I saw it on TV, obviously, because it's been featured on TV, all over the place, really. And in the new book that was written about it or, the history of it, just getting to tell people about it and just how unique and innovative arena it is. And just that it's just, it's hard to find words to describe it because it's just such a magical place in the history of it. And it's just amazing for sure.
Yeah, I find before a game when you're up there and they've just cleaned the ice and there's nobody on the ice and you look down and you think of all the players that came through that arena in the past, right? And
100%.
you just, me as being a Stratford lifelong resident, being a fan of this team probably since I was about 5 years old, so 51 years I've probably been going to games down there. How long were you in Stratford to enjoy these games?
How long was I there?
Yeah.
I guess I was there. I mean, not super long, but I think I was there 8 years maybe at the end of it, which was crazy because I still remember moving there for the first time and ended up being there 8 years later. But and I called games for, I want to say 4 seasons maybe. So I was trying to figure that out the other night, just kind of tried to count back in my head, and I think it's about 4. But I mean, and I know too, like even talking to you or talking to other people, part of the team or part of the organization, what the history means and what that team means to the city of Stratford. I mean, it's just a first class hockey city for sure. And that's why I loved it there so much. I've lived a lot of different places over the years for my career and whatnot, but the only place that I felt at home, other than obviously here in this area, because this is where I'm from, is Stratford. And a big part of that was because of, how much the city loves hockey. I fit right in, right? So it was, it's pretty cool for sure.
Yeah. It's such a great place to grow up. It's, I also find when you're at the arena, I've been trying to figure out getting names of old play-by-play guys or color commentary guys, right? And now, since you haven't been back lately, they've added more names to the front of the press box now.
Oh, nice. Perfect.
So they've put up John Kastner and Stephen Rice and Mike Savage and these guys from the print media that used to do the games from up there. And it's just nice to see, we don't have to wait till somebody dies to recognize them.
For sure.
The contributions, it was always the Bob Smith, Clark Heyman, and Bill Inkle Memorial Press Box, but now they've just added the names. And I always think back, when I was a kid listening to Clark Heyman and Bob Smith, thinking, one day I'd love to do that. And here I am now doing it.
And doing a great job. You're doing a great job for sure. Like I'm so happy with the job, that you're doing. And that was a big part, of knowing how much you love the team and knowing how much you enjoy it, because you and I are kindred spirits in that way, and that I love it, and have a passion for it as well. So when you were, when you had the interest in finding out about play-by-play and doing it, I knew right from day one that you were going to do a great job with it and have, because you love it so much. And if you love it and it's some place you want to be in, the commitment, because it is a commitment, I mean, it is, we love it, but it is 50 games or 55 games, playoffs, preseason, like we live at the rink pretty much. Right. But if you love it, it's where you want to be, and where you want to spend a lot of time. And I knew that was what you wanted to do. And kudos to you. You've done a great job. And, I'm proud of the work that you've done put in, and, how far you've come. And I know you're just going to keep on doing it.
Yeah, I want to thank you for that. And I want to, obviously I'm indebted to you for the chance you've given me to take over from you. And like I said, like I live and breathe this team. I always have, always followed, but now it's just that extra follow. My wife says she becomes a single parent in hockey season, because I'm not home on the weekends or some weeknights, and I'll head down even on a Monday or Wednesday night. I'll go down to practice and just see the boys if you don't see them for a while, right? It's just nice to be around the kids, and they're all great, and talk to the coaching staff and the equipment guys, right?
Yeah, my family says I'm married to the rink, so
it's part of the job and it's fun. And Dylan Baker now moved on up in Guelph, right?
Yeah, good for him, man.
Doing a fabulous job on the radio.
Yeah, he's a great guy for sure.
I had Darren Stevenson on a few weeks ago on the podcast, talking about his journey from CTV to 519 Sports Online, and they do such a great job covering this league. The spotlight they give to this 100%. League, it's just a great thing all around. Casey, I want to thank you for doing this.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for having me on. I'm
was,
glad we could do it. I've wanted to come on for a while, so this is awesome.
Yeah, I was just trying to find the right night.
Pardon me, sorry?
Trying to find the right night.
Yes, for sure. That's right.
Yeah, and I don't want to keep you too much because there is a big Game 7 going on
yes,
tonight.
For sure.
What is your prediction for tonight?
Oh man, I think the Jays are going to take it. I think they're much stronger than Seattle. I think the bats are going. I think you look at everybody on that team. The pitching I think has been good. You got Shane Bieber on the mound tonight. And I just, you got Vladdy hitting home runs nearly every time he goes up to bat. So yeah, I think the Jays are going to take it, and I think we're going to see a World Series start in Toronto. I think on Friday.
Yeah, I just hope he didn't jinx everything by wearing an Austin
For sure,
into the building tonight. I am a Leaf fan, and I love my Leafs, but there's just something about a Leaf jersey in a Game 7 I'm not too comfortable with in my lifetime. I don't think there's a much bigger game that can be on tonight in Canada because it's Canada's team.
That's right.
And I'm sure they're going to break some records tonight with the viewership. It is probably going to equal a World Junior, an Olympic medal game or something, but
I think
it's a big night for baseball, not only in Toronto, but baseball in Canada.
That's right.
Because something like this, more exposure to the game, and it's such a great game, and these kids see it and they just love it. It's nice to see that dome full and everything. All right, Casey, I'm going to let you go to get ready for that game.
All right, sir.
Thanks for doing this. Yeah, maybe we'll talk later on in this season. We'll see if we can hook up again.
Anytime.
Maybe talk about how the season's gone for you, how the season's gone for us.
Anytime, sir. I'm around. So sounds great. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody. That's Casey Kenny, former voice of the Stratford Hunter Steel Warriors. Thanks for joining us, Casey. All right, everybody. So there you go. And again, let's put up the next games. Friday night, the London Nationals come to town. On Sunday, the Warriors travel to Waterloo to face the Siskins. That's a 1:30 p.m. start. Friday night, Kevin Fell and the General will be on about 7:25. Fingers crossed they get everything going. I hope they do. Sunday afternoon, I might be of more help if they need help getting on Sunday afternoon. But we'll see what we can do so we can bring all the great fans more action from the Stratford Hunter Steel Warriors who they're just starting to put a run together here, and we want to keep it going. I've had some more requests for players you want to hear from, so I'm going to work on that after I get back from the surgery. A lot of people want to hear from the goaltending duel, so we'll see what we can do. Had some requests. They want to hear that fourth line, so we'll see what we can do, and we'll see if we can get things to fall into place. And like I said, when I was talking to Casey, we're going to get the unsung heroes, the trainers, the equipment staff, get those guys on and tell their story of working for this great club. All right, everybody. Again, enjoy your hockey this weekend, and I'll see you in early November. There will be no podcast next week, just depending on how I feel. Maybe there will be. We'll see. If not, we'll see you the first week of November. Remember, have a good night, folks.